Join us in a trip of underground Valletta as we venture beneath the capital city.
The big problem which faced Valletta when Valletta was built, it was not a problem to store food. Food was totally not a problem because they had massive food containers, the granaries, in various parts of Valletta, and that was fine. They could withstand a siege for a very long period of time. Even a couple of years, they could keep it dry, no big deal. The problem was always water. Eventually, the problem, as Astrid was mentioning before, that's one of the reasons why everybody was obliged to quarry the stone for his house from underneath his own home or residence, wherever you were, because automatically you're killing two birds with one stone. You're creating a hole which can be used to fill up with water during the winter. And this winter you would most certainly have filled your well. Whether or not it would last you through the summer, that was another matter. Eventually, of course, things, as you know, 50 years later, matters came to a head, actually long before, 50 years later, and they provided an aqueduct. Someone says with a certain authority that they know for certain what that hook was created for or installed for. I'm a little bit worried because the truth is that nobody knows for certain. But we can make educated guesses. Now, we certainly know that latterly it was used to tie up slaves and to whip them into shape if they started misbehaving and generally not cooperating. We also know that the British used to use it on a semi-formal scale because if a midshipman would want a promotion, they didn't want fatties in the Royal Navy. They wanted good, slim guys. And you would be asked to squeeze behind the hook as a joke, but sometimes I think not as such a joke. And if you could squeeze behind the hook, then you stood a chance for promotion from midshipman to lieutenant or captain or whatever. Otherwise, your chances would be dimmed considerably. There is a big school of thought also that the hook was installed in that wall when the bells of the church were installed. Because if you want to create that angle so that you can have a breather and tie the rope and have a rest as you lift the bells into place, there is that as well. And I have to say that there is another school of thought in that when merchandise used to be brought up from the harbour on a trolley, of course wheels had been invented, it was rather a useful place which could be used as a fulcrum to pull up the trolley. But what I also want to bring to your attention is this circular stone platform with what seems to be a stone seat on it. And in fact it is a stone seat on a circular stone platform, because we mentioned before that this was the law court of the knights. So if you'd done something bad, let's restrict it to small things like you swearing at a knight or stealing an apple or whatever, and you were found guilty, you'd be sat down on that seat over there. Let's call it the equivalent of the Knights of Stocks in the Middle Ages. And your hands would be manacled to the walls. You can still see the clamps, look, on either side. And then your name would be read out very loudly. In Maltese, it's called the Siju Tazebli. Your name would be read out loudly, and then shame would be upon you, and people would throw things and curse you and your family and your brother and whatever. The first thing he did was he knocked down the old town hall and he rebuilt it in the grand style, of course, of the Baroque. And the knights, you see the two low floors because there's a little mezzanine floor behind those porthole windows. The upper floor, same as usual. Look how noble and how rich I am and what a wonderfully high ceiling I have. I can't believe it, this guy's coming back now. It's a homing rubbish truck. It's a boomerang rubbish truck. Anyway.